Ain't nobody saving your black ass.
That's what a white security director said, out loud, to a black man standing in the lobby of one of America's biggest defense companies. 30 employees watched. Nobody did a thing. Halstead smashed Wesley's phone on the marble floor, glass everywhere. The whole lobby went dead. Wesley looked down, then up. "You just ended your career." Halstead got in his face, eyes cold.
You think you're somebody? You're a roach in a suit. Scrub that skin all you want. The dirt's in your DNA, boy.
Then he turned to the lobby.
Somebody take the humiliating in. Somebody take the trash out.
Halstead laughed, loud, hard. The whole lobby heard it. Nobody knew that was the last time Brock Halstead would ever laugh as a free man. 6 hours earlier, the morning sun came through the kitchen window of a quiet house in Arlington, Virginia. Nothing fancy. A 2-story colonial with a trimmed lawn and an American flag hanging by the front door. The kind of house that blends in with every other house on the street. Wesley Stanton stood at the counter pouring coffee into a thermos. Navy polo, khakis, clean white sneakers, no briefcase, no suit, no government lanyard around his neck. If you passed him on the street, you'd think he was heading to a weekend barbecue, not to a meeting that could reshape a billion-dollar defense contract. His wife Tamara came down the stairs, still tying her hair back. "Don't forget the groceries on the way home. We're out of everything." Wesley smiled. "Define everything." "Milk, eggs, the stuff that keeps children alive, Wesley." He kissed her on the forehead. "I'll be back by 6. "You always say that." "And I always come back." She handed him his keys. He grabbed his thermos and walked out the front door into the cool Virginia morning. Birds singing, sprinklers hissing 2 houses down. The neighborhood smelled like fresh-cut grass and coffee. This was Wesley Stanton's life. Ordinary, invisible, exactly the way he wanted it. But here's what the neighbors didn't know. What Tamara's friends didn't know. What nobody on that quiet little street had any idea about. Wesley Stanton was the deputy director of the Pentagon's Office of Strategic Intelligence. He oversaw a defense logistics division with a $2.8 billion annual budget. He held one of the highest security clearances in the United States government. He had a direct line to people whose names never appear in any newspaper. And today he was driving to Crestfield Industries, one of the top 5 defense contractors in the country, to conduct a classified audit of their $1.2 billion Pentagon contract. The kind of audit that could make or break a corporation. He didn't take a government car. He drove his 5-year-old Chevy Tahoe. He didn't wear a badge. He didn't bring an escort. He carried 2 phones, one personal, one a secure government device, and a leather briefcase with Pentagon documents inside. 3 people in the world knew he was coming. Crestfield's CEO, who was traveling overseas. The CEO's executive secretary, Grace Ellison, who had arranged the appointment, and Wesley himself. That was it. No announcement, no motorcade, just
in the heart of Bel Air, beyond iron gates taller than most dreams,
a black man in a polo shirt driving a Tahoe to a building where nobody knew his name. He merged onto the highway toward Northern Virginia. The road was smooth, traffic was light, classic soul playing low on the radio. He sipped his coffee and thought about what Tamara said about groceries. 40 minutes later, the Crestfield Industries Tower rose into view, 40 stories of glass and steel catching the morning light. The building looked like it was designed to intimidate, and it worked. A massive American flag hung from the 20th floor. The company logo, Crestfield, sat in brushed steel letters above the entrance, each letter taller than a man. This was one of the most powerful buildings in American defense. Billions in government contracts flowed through these doors. Generals visited, senators visited. The rooftop had a private helipad for VIPs. Wesley pulled into the visitor parking lot, turned off the engine, sat there for a moment looking up at the building through his windshield. He'd been in rooms with 4-star generals. He'd briefed intelligence committees behind closed doors. He'd walked the halls of the Pentagon every day for 22 years. But he never announced himself, never wore his rank on his sleeve. His mother raised him that way. Back in rural Georgia, where she cleaned offices at the county courthouse 6 nights a week so he could go to school with clean clothes. She used to say, "The loudest person in the room is never the most powerful one." Wesley finished his coffee, grabbed his briefcase, stepped out of the Tahoe. The morning air smelled like asphalt and fresh landscaping. A fountain gurgled near the main entrance. Employees in expensive suits streamed through the revolving doors, badges swinging from their necks, not one of them giving Wesley a second look. He walked toward the front doors of Crestfield Industries. He had no idea what was waiting for him inside. The lobby of Crestfield Industries was built to make people feel small. 60-foot ceilings, marble floors so polished you could see your own reflection. A wall of glass behind the reception desk letting in a sheet of white morning light. The Crestfield logo, brushed steel 10 feet wide, hung behind the front desk like an altar. Security turnstiles lined the entrance. Screens on the walls displayed stock prices, company news, quarterly earnings. Everything in this room said the same thing. You are standing inside power. Wesley walked through the revolving doors and crossed the lobby toward the reception desk. His sneakers barely made a sound on the marble. Around him, employees moved in packs, dark suits, polished shoes, lanyards, coffee cups. Nobody looked at him. He was invisible. Just another face passing through. He reached the reception desk. A young woman with a headset and a tight smile looked up. "Good morning, how can I help you?" "Wesley Stanton. I have an appointment on the executive floor." She typed his name, frowned slightly, typed again. "I'm seeing a confidential access code here, but I'll need to verify with the executive office before I can issue a badge. Would you mind waiting just a moment?" "Take your time." Wesley stepped away from the desk and stood near the lobby seating area. He pulled out his personal phone and called Tamara. She picked up on the second ring. "Already? You just left." "Just letting you know I'm here. Building's even bigger than the photos." "Don't forget the milk." He laughed. "That's really all you care about right now?" "Wesley, the children need cereal in the morning. National security can wait." He was still smiling when he felt it. That shift in the air. The feeling you get when someone is watching you, not casually, but with intent. He glanced to his left. Across the lobby, a man in a dark security uniform had stopped walking. He stood near the turnstiles, feet apart, arms at his sides. Big, thick neck, buzz cut going gray. A Crestfield security patch on his shoulder, a holstered sidearm on his belt. He was staring directly at Wesley. Brock Halstead, Director of Security. Halstead didn't move right away. He just watched. His eyes traveled from Wesley's sneakers to his polo shirt to the phone in his hand. Then he started walking. Slow, deliberate, each step echoing on the marble. He stopped 3 feet from Wesley. "Can I help you with something?" The tone wasn't helpful. It was a warning. Wesley lowered his phone slightly. "I'm waiting for badge verification. I have an appointment on the executive floor." Halstead's eyebrows went up. Just a fraction. Executive floor. He said it like Wesley had claimed he was meeting the president. "And who exactly is your appointment with?" "That's confidential. The receptionist is verifying now." Confidential. Halstead repeated the word slowly, tasting it. He crossed his arms. "Look, I run security in this building. Nothing happens on any floor without me knowing about it. And I don't have anything on my sheet about you." Wesley kept his voice even. "The appointment was arranged through the CEO's office. If you contact the executive secretary, she'll confirm." "I'm not calling anyone, I'm asking you." Halstead took a half step closer. "Who are you? Why are you here? And why are you dressed like you're heading to a cookout?" Wesley felt the shift. This wasn't security protocol. This was something else. "My name is Wesley Stanton. I gave my information at the desk. I'm waiting for clearance. That's all I'm required to tell you." Halstead's jaw tightened. He looked at Wesley's phone. "You recording me right now?" "I'm on the phone with my wife." "Hang up." "No." The word landed like a brick on the marble floor. Quiet, solid, final. Halstead's face changed. The professional mask slipped for just a second, and underneath was something raw, something personal. Not suspicion, not procedure, contempt. I said hang up the phone. Wesley spoke into the phone without breaking eye contact with Halstead. Tamara, stay on the line. Don't hang up no matter what you hear. Tamara's voice came through, small and sharp. Wesley, what's happening? Halstead moved fast. He reached out and snatched the phone from Wesley's hand. One quick motion, like swatting a fly. Then he turned and threw it. The phone hit the marble floor 6 feet away. The screen shattered on impact. Pieces of glass sprayed across the polished stone, spinning and catching the light. The sound was sharp, a crack followed by a skitter of fragments. The lobby stopped. Conversations died. Footsteps halted. A woman near the turnstiles put her hand over her mouth. A man in a gray suit froze mid-step, coughing.
Crystal chandeliers. Walls lined with art worth more than entire neighborhoods, and beneath it all,
Coffee cup halfway to his lips. The receptionist stood up behind her desk, eyes wide. 30 people, standing still, watching. Nobody said a word. Nobody stepped forward. Halstead turned back to Wesley, breathing hard, jaw set. He pointed a thick finger at Wesley's chest. Nobody's coming to save you, boy. Not in my building. Now sit down, shut up, and wait until I decide what to do with you. Wesley looked at the shattered phone on the floor. Tiny shards of glass glittering on the dark marble like scattered stars. The screen flickered once. Tamara's name still glowing, then went black. He looked back at Halstead. His face was calm, perfectly calm. No anger, no fear, no panic. He spoke 4 words, low, steady. You just ended your career. Halstead laughed, short and sharp. Your career? Buddy, you don't even have a badge. Wesley didn't respond. Instead, he reached slowly, very slowly, into his jacket pocket. Halstead tensed. His hand moved to his holster. The lobby held its breath. Wesley pulled out a second phone. Matte black. No brand logo, no visible markings. A government-issued secure device. He dialed a single number. It rang once. A voice answered. No greeting, just silence waiting for a code. Wesley spoke 6 words. This is Stanton. Activate protocol Overwatch. He ended the call, put the phone back in his pocket, and stood perfectly still. Halstead stared at him. What the hell was that? Wesley didn't answer. I asked you a question. What did you just do? Wesley looked at him with an expression Halstead had never seen before. Not from anyone he'd ever pushed around, threatened, or humiliated in this lobby. It was pity. You'll find out soon enough. Halstead didn't like that look. Didn't like it one bit. A man he'd just humiliated in front of the entire lobby was standing there looking at him like he was the one in trouble. Like Halstead was the one who should be scared. That wasn't how this worked. Not in his building. Brennan, Collins, get over here. 2 security guards crossed the lobby fast. Cole Brennan, young, blonde, barely 25, and a stocky older guard named Collins. Both wore the same dark Crestfield uniform. Both had their hands near their belts. This individual is being detained for suspicious activity, Halstead said, loud enough for the whole lobby to hear. No verified appointment, no badge, refused to cooperate. Sit him down. Brennan hesitated. He looked at Wesley, calm, hands visible, standing still. Nothing about this man looked suspicious. Nothing about him looked dangerous. He looked like somebody's dad waiting for a meeting. Sir, maybe we should call upstairs first. I didn't ask for your opinion. Sit him down. Brennan and Collins each took one of Wesley's arms and guided him into a lobby chair. Wesley didn't resist. He sat down slowly, placed his hands on his knees, and looked straight ahead. Like a man settling in for something he already expected. Halstead stood over him. Legs apart, arms crossed. The posture of a man who owned the room and everyone in it. Now, let's start over. He snapped his fingers at Brennan. Search his bag. Brennan looked down at Wesley's leather briefcase on the floor next to the chair. Sir, we don't usually search personal belongings without... Did I stutter? Open it. Brennan knelt down, unzipped the briefcase with shaky hands. He pulled out the contents one by one and placed them on the chair next to Wesley. A leather folder. He opened it. Inside, Documents on official Pentagon letterhead. Dense text. Classification markings. Stamps and seals. A government-issued laptop. Matte gray. No logos. A small sticker on the corner with a Department of Defense asset number. A secure access badge. Wesley's photo. His name. The Pentagon seal. A clearance level printed in red letters that Brennan had never seen before. Brennan stared at the badge. His face went pale. He looked up at Halstead. "Sir, you need to see this." Halstead snatched the badge from Brennan's hand, glanced at it, turned it over, tossed it back onto the pile like it was a library card. "Could be fake. Any idiot with a printer can make one of these." He picked up the Pentagon documents, flipped through 2 pages without reading them, dropped them back on the chair. "Means nothing." Then he reached into his own pocket and pulled out Wesley's secure government phone, the matte black device Wesley had used to make that call. "And this? What is this? Some kind of burner phone? Drug dealer special?" Wesley's voice changed for the first time since this started. Not louder, lower. The temperature in it dropped 10 degrees. "That device is classified property of the United States government. It is beyond your clearance level. Put it down. Now." Halstead bounced the phone in his palm. "Classified. Right." He held it up to the lobby like a trophy. "Hear that, everyone? We got ourselves a secret agent." He slipped it into his own pocket and patted it twice. "I'll hold on to this until we figure out what your deal is." Wesley's jaw tightened. One small movement. The only crack in his composure since this whole thing started. 38 floors up, Grace Ellison saw it on her monitor. Grace Ellison, the CEO's executive secretary. Sitting at her desk on the 38th floor, surrounded by scheduling calendars and coffee cups. She had arranged Wesley's visit herself, coordinated the confidential access code, blocked the CEO's calendar, prepared the conference room. She'd been watching since the moment Wesley walked through the front doors. The security camera feeds were part of her daily workflow. She monitored VIP arrivals as standard procedure. When she saw Halstead approach Wesley, she sat up straighter. When she saw him snatch the phone, her hand went to her mouse. She clicked record. Not just one camera, she pulled up 4 angles. Lobby wide shot, reception desk, seating area close-up, and the corridor entrance. All 4 recording simultaneously. Audio from the lobby security microphones feeding directly into the capture. Timestamps running in the corner of every frame. Grace had worked at Crestfield for 11 years. She had seen Halstead bully visitors before. She had seen the complaints disappear into HR and never come back. She had watched good people get humiliated and walk away with nothing. Not today. She picked up her desk phone and called the receptionist downstairs. The receptionist answered in a whisper. "Grace, there's a situation." "I know. I'm watching everything. Don't intervene. Don't tell Halstead I'm recording. Just stay at your desk." "But I know what he's doing, and this time every second of it is on tape." Back in the lobby, Halstead was enjoying himself. He circled Wesley's chair like a dog circling a trapped animal.
He's hidden under the estate like a secret shrine. Was Victor Lenston's underground garage. 27 rare cars. Bugattis, Ferraris, McLarens, Rolls-Royces. But none of them mattered the way one did. His black Lamborghini
Spoke to the watching employees as much as to Wesley. You know what the problem is these days? People walk into places they got no business being in, flash some fake papers, act like they own the place, and we're all supposed to just, what? Roll out the red carpet? He leaned down close to Wesley. "I've been running security in this building for 12 years. 12 years. I know who belongs here and who doesn't. And you?" He tapped Wesley's shoulder with one finger. "You don't belong here." Wesley said nothing. Hands on knees, eyes forward, breathing slow. Halstead straightened up. "Nothing to say now, huh? What happened to that big talk? You just ended your career." He mimicked Wesley's voice in a mocking tone, laughed at his own impression. Halstead pulled out his own phone, dialed 911. "Yeah, this is Brock Halstead, Director of Security at Crestfield Industries. I've got an unauthorized individual in our lobby. Black male, mid-40s, no identification, refusing to leave the premises. I need a unit here for trespassing removal." He hung up and smiled at Wesley. "Cops are on the way. Last chance to walk out on your own." Wesley looked up at him for the first time in minutes. His voice was quiet, almost gentle. "Mr. Halstead, in about 3 minutes, you're going to wish you'd made a very different phone call." "That a threat?" "No, that's a fact." Then it started. Faint at first. A vibration in the floor, a hum in the walls. The water in the lobby fountain trembled. Then the sound, coming from above, through 40 stories of glass and steel, getting louder, thwap, 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 thwap. The lobby chandelier began to sway. Employees near the windows on the upper floors pressed their faces to the glass. A shadow passed over the building, huge, fast, blocking the sun for a full second. Something was landing on the roof. Brennan looked at the ceiling, then at Wesley, then back at the ceiling. Was that on our helipad? Wesley didn't look up. He already knew. "That's for me." The elevator chimed. Everyone in the lobby turned toward the sound. The brushed steel doors on the far wall, the executive elevator, the one that goes straight to the roof, slid open. Colonel Vivian Caldwell stepped out. Full military dress uniform. Pressed. Perfect. Every medal, every ribbon, every insignia in its exact place. Her boots hit the marble floor and the sound cut through the lobby like a knife. Sharp, measured, each step deliberate. Behind her, 2 military police officers, sidearms holstered, faces blank, moving in perfect sync like they'd rehearsed this walk 1,000 times. Caldwell didn't look at the reception desk, didn't look at the employees frozen along the turnstiles, didn't look at the Crestfield logo on the wall or the stock prices scrolling on the screens. She walked straight through the middle of the lobby like she owned it, because in this moment, she did. She stopped in front of Wesley. "Mr. Stanton, are you all right?" Wesley stood up from the chair, straightened his polo. "I'm fine, Colonel." Caldwell looked him over. No visible injuries, but she saw everything else. The shattered phone on the marble floor, glass still scattered around it. The open briefcase, its contents dumped on a chair like evidence at a crime scene. Pentagon documents tossed carelessly on top of each other. The secure access badge lying face up where Halstead had thrown it. Her jaw tightened. Something cold moved behind her eyes. She turned to Halstead. The lobby went silent. Not quiet, silent. The kind of silence where you can hear the air conditioning humming 30 feet above your head. "Identify yourself." Halstead opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Brock Halstead, Director of Security." His voice cracked on the last word. Caldwell took 1 step toward him. Just one. But it was enough. Halstead stepped back without thinking, his body retreating before his brain gave permission. "Mr. Halstead, the man you just detained, searched, and publicly humiliated is Wesley Stanton, Deputy Director of the Pentagon's Office of Strategic Intelligence. He holds a security clearance that is above anything this company or anyone in it has ever been granted. He was here today on a classified federal assignment arranged directly through your CEO's office." She paused, let every word land. "You destroyed his personal property. You conducted an unauthorized search of his belongings. You physically restrained a senior government official without cause, and you confiscated a classified communications device. A device whose security protocols you have now compromised by handling it with uncertified hands." Another pause, longer this time. "Do you understand the severity of what you've done?" Halstead's face had gone from red to white in under 30 seconds. His mouth moved, but nothing came out. His hands were shaking, actually shaking, at his sides. I was following protocol. He didn't have a badge. He wouldn't. He gave you his name. He told you to call the executive floor. He told you the CEO's office arranged his visit. You refused every opportunity to verify." Caldwell's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. "You didn't follow protocol, Mr. Halstead. You followed your prejudice." The word hit the lobby like a thunderclap. Employees looked at the floor. Brennan looked at his shoes. The receptionist gripped the edge of her desk. Caldwell turned to the military police. "Secure the classified device." One of the officers stepped forward. "Sir, the phone, now." Halstead reached into his pocket. His hand was trembling so bad it took him 3 tries to pull the phone out. He held it up like it was burning him. The officer took it with gloved hands, placed it in a signal-shielded pouch, and sealed it. Caldwell spoke into her radio. Federal jurisdiction confirmed. Requesting FBI liaison for local arrest processing. Subject is Brock Halstead, civilian, Crestfield Industries. She turned back to Wesley. Sir, I apologize for the response time. Your signal was routed through 3 verification layers. Wesley nodded. Understood. Then he stepped toward Halstead. Close. Close enough that only Halstead could hear what came next. You looked at me and saw what you wanted to see. You didn't see 22 years of service. You didn't see the clearance I carry. You didn't see the budgets I manage or the operations I oversee. You saw a black man in a polo shirt, and you decided that was enough. Wesley held his gaze for 3 full seconds. I hope it was worth it. Caldwell nodded to the military police. Take him. They moved fast, professional, 1 officer on each side. Halstead's company sidearm was removed from his holster. His Crestfield badge was unclipped from his belt. His access key card was pulled from his pocket. They put him in handcuffs, right there, in the middle of the marble lobby, under the brushed steel Crestfield logo, in front of every employee who had watched him humiliate Wesley Stanton 5 minutes earlier. Halstead didn't resist. He couldn't. His legs barely held him up as they walked him to the elevator. The doors closed. He was gone. The lobby stayed silent for a long time. Upstairs, in a windowless holding room on the 39th floor, Brock Halstead fell apart. It didn't happen all at once. It happened in stages, like watching a building collapse floor by floor. First came the bargaining. He sat across from 2 military police officers at a steel table and talked fast. Too fast. This is a misunderstanding. I was doing my job. The man had no badge, no appointment on my sheet. I followed standard security protocol. That's what I'm trained to do. That's what this company pays me to do. The officers said nothing. They didn't need to. The questions had already been asked. The answers were already on tape. Then came the anger. Halstead slammed his palm on the table. I've been head of security at this company for 12 years. 12 years without a single breach. Not one. And now you're telling me I'm the problem? Because I stopped some guy in the lobby? Silence. Then came the desperation. His voice dropped. The anger drained out of him like air from a punctured tire. I have a family, 2 kids, a mortgage. I'm 6 years from my pension. He looked at the officers with wet eyes. Please, can we talk about this? One of the officers finally spoke. Mr. Halstead, you are being held for federal processing. An FBI liaison is en route. I'd advise you to stop talking until you have legal representation. Halstead put his head in his hands. 38 floors below, the lobby had turned into something else entirely. Wesley Stanton stood near the reception desk, calm as he'd been all morning. Colonel Caldwell stood beside him, reviewing notes on a tablet. And then the elevator opened one more time. Grace Ellison stepped out. She was a small woman, mid-30s, brown hair pulled back in a neat bun, reading glasses hanging from a chain around her neck.
Ini Aventador SVJ. It was more than a car. It was his resurrection. Victor had bought it the week he became a billionaire. The machine represented everything.
She carried a single USB drive in her right hand, holding it carefully like it was made of glass. She walked directly to Colonel Caldwell and introduced herself. Grace Ellison, Executive Secretary to the CEO. I arranged Mr. Stanton's appointment. Caldwell looked at her. You're the one who called the front desk during the incident? I didn't just call. Grace held up the USB drive. I recorded everything. The lobby seemed to hold its breath again. Grace explained. From the moment Wesley walked through the front doors, she'd been monitoring the security cameras as part of her standard protocol for VIP arrivals. When she saw Halstead approach Wesley, she activated a screen capture recording on her workstation. 4 camera angles. Lobby wide shot. Reception desk. Seating area close-up. Corridor entrance. All 4 running simultaneously. Audio captured through the lobby's built-in security microphones. The same system Halstead had insisted the company install 3 years ago to monitor suspicious conversations. His own microphones, his own cameras, recording every word he said. 26 minutes of uninterrupted footage. Every insult, every shove, the phone being smashed, the illegal search, the classified device being pocketed, the racial slurs, all of it. Time-stamped, multi-angle, crystal clear. Grace placed the USB drive in Caldwell's hand. This is a direct copy from the company's internal security server. It hasn't been edited, compressed, or transferred through any external system. The metadata is intact. Caldwell looked at the drive, then at Grace. Ms. Ellison, do you understand what you've just provided? Yes, ma'am. This may be the most important piece of evidence in this case. Grace didn't blink. That's why I recorded it. Caldwell secured the USB drive in a tamper-proof evidence bag and handed it to one of the military police officers. Wesley watched Grace from across the lobby. This woman, who owed him nothing, who had never met him, who could have turned off her monitor and gone back to scheduling meetings, had made a choice. She pressed record. She kept recording, and she walked down 38 floors to hand over the proof. He caught her eye and nodded. Just once. She nodded back. Wesley called Tamara from a replacement phone Caldwell provided. She picked up before the first ring finished. Wesley. Her voice was tight, controlled. The voice of a woman who'd been holding herself together for the past hour. I heard everything before the phone went dead. Are you okay? I'm fine. It's over. It is not over. Come home right now. Caldwell offered Wesley a ride in the helicopter. He declined. He walked back through the lobby, past the shattered glass still on the marble floor, past the employees who couldn't meet his eyes, past a reception desk where this had all started. He got in his Tahoe, started the engine, pulled out of the Crestfield parking lot. The narrator notes the symmetry. He arrived at that building as an ordinary man. No badge, no escort, no announcement. And he left the same way, alone, in his 5-year-old Chevy, polo shirt, khakis, clean white sneakers. The only difference was that Crestfield Industries now knew exactly who had walked through their doors, and exactly what their head of security had cost them. The FBI moved fast. Within 48 hours of the incident, a formal federal investigation was opened. Special agents from the Washington field office arrived at Crestfield Industries with a warrant. They seized the security server. They pulled Halstead's personnel file. They interviewed 31 employees who were in the lobby that morning, and they had Grace Ellison's recording. 26 minutes, 4 angles, every frame admissible. The charges came down on Brock Halstead like a hammer. Assault on a federal official, felony. Theft of classified government property, felony. Deprivation of civil rights under color of authority, a federal civil rights violation that carries up to 10 years. Unlawful search and seizure of personal property. 4 charges, each one capable of ending a career. Together, they were capable of ending a life as Halstead knew it. But the investigation didn't stop with Halstead. It couldn't. Because the deeper the FBI dug into Crestfield Industries, the uglier the picture got. 14 complaints. 14! Filed over a span of 9 years, all against Brock Halstead. All sitting in the same HR database, buried under layers of internal memos and closed case stamps. A black software engineer who was stopped in the lobby 3 times in 1 month and asked to verify his employment, even though he'd worked on the 16th floor for 4 years. He filed a complaint. It was marked, "Resolved, no action required." A Latino contractor who was denied building access because Halstead said his credentials looked altered. They weren't. The contractor filed a complaint. It disappeared. A Middle Eastern executive visiting from a partner firm in London who was pulled aside, searched, and questioned for 45 minutes. His British passport meant nothing. His tailored suit meant nothing. His appointment with the CFO meant nothing. Halstead let him go with no apology. The complaint was filed. HR sent a form letter. 14 people. 14 incidents. 14 times the system looked the other way. And it wasn't just Halstead. 3 senior executives, Vice President of Operations, the HR Director, and the Chief Administrative Officer, had personally reviewed and dismissed multiple complaints. Internal emails showed they considered Halstead's behavior aggressive but effective. One email read, "Brock keeps the building tight. A few complaints come with the territory." The Department of Justice Civil Rights Division opened a parallel investigation into Crestfield's systemic failure to address discrimination. The company wasn't just harboring a bad employee, it was protecting him. Then the media caught fire. Diane Whitmore broke the story on a Tuesday evening, local affiliate, 6 o'clock news. She stood in front of the Crestfield Tower with the wind pulling at her hair and delivered the lead that every newsroom in the country wished they'd gotten first. Tonight, an exclusive investigation reveals that a senior Pentagon official was assaulted, searched, and racially abused inside the lobby of one of America's largest defense contractors. And the company's own cameras caught everything. Portions of Grace Ellison's recording were released to the public. Classified elements
Thing he believed about himself. Tower, precision, perfection, and for a year, it obeyed. Until one cold November
were redacted. Wesley's documents, the secure phone, any reference to his specific role. But the rest was untouched, and it was devastating. The footage showed everything. Halstead's face as he threw the phone, the glass shattering on the marble, Wesley sitting in the chair with his hands on his knees while Halstead circled him. The words, every single word, picked up by the lobby microphones in perfect clarity. "The dirt's in your DNA, boy." America heard that. 30 million people heard that in the first 24 hours. Cable news played the footage on loop. Morning shows ran segments. Social media erupted. The hashtag Crestfield Lobby trended for 6 straight days. Legal analysts broke down the charges on split screens. Civil rights leaders held press conferences. Crestfield Industries stock dropped 8% in 2 days. The board of directors issued a public statement calling Halstead's actions inconsistent with our values and standards of conduct. The internet tore it apart. 14 buried complaints, 9 years of silence. Inconsistent with our values wasn't just hollow, it was insulting. And through all of it, Wesley Stanton said nothing. No interviews, no press conferences, no social media posts, no leaked statements through lawyers or friends. Complete silence. The narrator notes, Wesley Stanton didn't need to say a word. Grace Ellison's recording did the talking. The charges did the talking. The helicopter did the talking. The trial began 4 months later. Federal courthouse. Judge Alan Crawford presiding. Dark wood paneling. American flag behind the bench. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, civil rights observers, Crestfield employees, and members of the public who had driven hours to be there. The prosecution's case was built on 3 pillars. First, Grace Ellison's recording. Exhibit A. Played in full for the jury. 26 minutes, 4 angles. The courtroom was dead silent for every second of it. One juror wiped her eyes. Another shook his head slowly back and forth for the last 5 minutes. Second, Deputy Cole Brennan's testimony. He took the stand, hands trembling, and told the truth. Every detail. Halstead's orders to search the briefcase. His own hesitation. Halstead overriding him. The classified phone being pocketed. Brennan didn't try to protect himself. He didn't try to minimize. He laid it all out. Third, Halstead's own history. The 14 complaints, the internal emails, the pattern, exposed in open court for the first time. Grace Ellison testified on the second day. She sat in the witness chair with perfect posture and a steady voice. She explained her process, how she monitored VIP arrivals, how she recognized Wesley on camera, how she began recording the moment she saw Halstead approach. The defense attorney tried to challenge the recording. He argued Grace had captured it without Halstead's consent. Judge Crawford shut it down in one sentence. The footage was captured by a company security system that Mr. Halstead himself oversaw and approved. Objection overruled. Every journalist in the courtroom wrote that line down. The defense's core argument was that Halstead acted in good faith as a security professional protecting corporate assets. A man with no badge, no verified appointment, and casual clothing in the lobby of a high-security defense firm, wasn't it reasonable to be cautious? The prosecution asked one question on cross-examination that ended the argument. Mr. Halstead, at any point during this encounter, did you pick up a phone and call the CEO's office to verify Mr. Stanton's appointment? Halstead stared at the table. No. One phone call, 60 seconds. That's all it would have taken. No, I didn't make that call. The jury deliberated for 3 hours and 40 minutes. They came back with a verdict on all 4 counts. Guilty, 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 guilty. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Judge Crawford addressed Halstead directly. 8 years in federal prison. Permanent ban from any security or law enforcement position in the United States. $250,000 in personal restitution to Wesley Stanton. Lifetime prohibition on carrying a firearm. Halstead stood motionless as the sentence was read. His attorney put a hand on his shoulder. His wife sobbed in the front row. His 2 teenage sons sat beside her, staring straight ahead, faces empty. The gavel came down. Halstead was escorted out in handcuffs. The same hands that had smashed Wesley's phone on that marble floor were now locked behind his back. The ripple effects went further. Crestfield Industries underwent a full federal audit. The 3 senior executives who had buried Halstead's complaints, the VP of Operations, the HR Director, and the Chief Administrative Officer, were terminated. The company's government contracts were placed under a 24-month federal oversight review. The board appointed an independent civil rights monitor. Crestfield settled a class action lawsuit brought by former employees and visitors for $3.2 million. 14 plaintiffs, 9 years of silence, finally answered. Cole Brennan, the young security guard who had followed Halstead's orders that morning, testified honestly through every stage of the investigation and trial. He resigned from Crestfield the week after the verdict. He enrolled in a community justice program and became an advocate for workplace accountability training. A small outcome in a big story, but a real one. Grace Ellison received a formal commendation from the Department of Justice for her role in preserving critical evidence. She stayed at Crestfield under the new leadership. When asked by a reporter why she recorded the incident, she gave a one-sentence answer.
Morning. It didn't. Victor slid into the leather driver's seat, pressed the ignition. Click. Silence. At first, he frowned.
Because I was tired of watching it happen and pretending I didn't see it. 6 months later, Wesley Stanton pulled his Chevy Tahoe into the visitor lot at Crestfield Industries. Same building, same glass and steel catching the afternoon light. Same American flag hanging from the 20th floor. Same brushed steel letters above the entrance. Crestfield. Each one taller than a man. But everything else was different. He walked through the revolving doors and into the lobby. The marble floor was the same. The chandelier was the same. The spot where his phone had shattered, he could see it from where he stood. 6 feet from the reception desk. Right there on the polished stone. No glass anymore, no shards catching the light. Just clean marble, like nothing had ever happened. But something had happened, and everyone in this building knew it. The new CEO met him at the elevator. Firm handshake, direct eye contact. Mr. Stanton, welcome back, truly. Wesley nodded. Thank you. Grace Ellison was waiting on the executive floor. She had a coffee ready and a conference room prepped. She shook his hand, the first time they'd touched since that day in the lobby when she'd handed a USB drive to a colonel and changed everything. Good to see you again, Mr. Stanton. Good to see you, Grace. A small moment. Quiet. No cameras this time. No military police. No helicopter on the roof. Just 2 people who had been through something together and come out the other side. The meeting lasted 2 hours. Business, contracts, numbers. The kind of work Wesley had come to do 6 months ago, before Brock Halstead decided that a black man in a polo shirt didn't deserve to stand in a lobby. When it was done, Wesley took the elevator back down. crossed the lobby one more time, walked past the reception desk, past the seating area where he'd been forced into a chair, past the turnstiles where employees had stood frozen, watching, saying nothing. He pushed through the revolving doors and stepped into the afternoon sun. The parking lot smelled like warm asphalt and cut grass. A breeze moved through the trees along the access road. He got in his Tahoe, started the engine. Classic soul on the radio. Same station as that morning 6 months ago. He drove home. Tamara was on the front porch when he pulled in, arms crossed, watching him park like she always did, like she was making sure he actually made it back. Their 2 kids were in the yard, the older one chasing the younger one around the sprinkler, laughing, soaked, not a care in the world. Wesley sat in the driveway for a moment with the engine off, watching his family, listening to the sprinkler, feeling the sun through the windshield. This was what had been at risk that day. Not just his dignity, not just his career, not just a phone screen shattered on a marble floor, but this. The ordinary, beautiful, unremarkable right to drive to work, do his job, and come home to his family without being treated like a threat. He got out of the car. Tamara handed him a glass of iced tea. How'd it go? Good. Normal. Normal is good. Normal is everything. And that's the thing about this story that stays with me. Justice happened here because Wesley Stanton had something most people don't. He had a Pentagon title, a classified phone, a military helicopter that could land on a rooftop in 4 minutes. He had Colonel Caldwell. He had Protocol Overwatch. But what about the people who don't have those things? What about the man standing in a lobby somewhere right now, being questioned, searched, humiliated, who doesn't have a colonel coming, who doesn't have a helicopter, who doesn't have a second phone in his pocket connected to the most powerful military on Earth? The point of this story isn't that you need a helicopter to get justice. The point is that you shouldn't need one. The system should protect every person the way it protected Wesley Stanton. Every person, regardless of what they're wearing, regardless of what they look like, regardless of whether they have a title or a badge or a clearance level. The fact that it doesn't, the fact that 14 complaints sat in a database for 9 years and nobody did a thing, that's the real story here. But there's one more thing, and I think it might be the most important part. Grace Ellison didn't have a helicopter either. She didn't have a Pentagon title. She didn't have a military escort. She was a secretary sitting at a desk on the 38th floor watching a security camera. And she pressed record. That's it. That's all she did. She pressed record and she didn't stop. She didn't look away. She didn't tell herself it wasn't her problem. She didn't wait for someone else to do something. She made a choice. And that choice changed everything. You don't need a Pentagon clearance to be a witness. You don't need a uniform or a title or a helicopter. You just need to not look away. So here's my question for you. If you were in that lobby, if you watched a man get humiliated for the color of his skin right in front of you, what would you do? Would you freeze like those 30 employees? Would you look at the floor? Or would you be a Grace Ellison? Would you press record? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear it. And if this story hit you, if it really hit you, smash that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe and hit the bell because we've got more stories coming. And trust me, the next one is even wilder. But before you go, I want to leave you with one last thought. If the helicopter never came, if Wesley Stanton was just a regular man with no title, no clearance, no backup, no protocol, do you believe he would have walked out of that lobby a free man? Think about that. Really think about it. And then tell me your answer.
Federal prison. That's what one assumption caused Brock has said. But that's not the real story. Wesley had a helicopter, a colonel, a classified phone that could trigger a military response in 4 minutes. And even he sat in that chair, humiliated, while 30 people just watched. So what happens when there's no helicopter, no title, no protocol, just a man in a polo shirt standing in a lobby where someone decided he didn't belong? 14 complaints sat in drawer for 9 years. 9 years, nobody did a thing until the target happened to outrank everyone in the building. That's the part that should bother all of us. But then there's Grace, a secretary on the 38th floor. No rank, no power. She just pressed record. 26 minutes, 4 angles, and that one decision, that one choice not look away changed everything. So be honest with yourself. If you were standing in that lobby, would you freeze? Would you look at the floor? Or would you be a Grace? Tell me in the comments. And if this one hit you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, hit that bell. The next story is even wider. You don't need a helicopter to stand for something. You just need to not look away.
That was all. Machines fail. Batteries die. But after the second attempt, click, and the third, click, something unfamiliar entered Victor Langston's chest. Fear.